What's up everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kelvin's Garage. Today we have a very special episode for you. We're going to change out the tie rods on the 2006 Honda Civic. Now, if you remember from a previous episode, while we were changing out the knuckles, we discovered that the tie rod, the boot, was actually wearing out and leaking grease. So we got these super cool Mevotech tie rods with these really nice looking rubber seals around the joint here, and we're going to install these today. Now, sometimes while you're driving down the road, you're hearing some clinking or clonking noises while you're turning the steering wheel. You may have an issue with the tie rod joints here, okay? So inside there's a ball joint and they can wear out over time. Mevotech tie rods, okay? Mevotech tie rods, okay? And that is the part number here, MS60600. Okay, and the other side is MS60601, okay, made in China. All right, and I heard good things about Mevotech, actually good and bad things. So the reviews are a little bit mixed, and I'm not sure which to believe quite yet. But let's give Mevotech a shot, okay? Let's give them a chance, all right? So here are the tie rods here. You can tell it comes with the blue, signature blue boot, okay? Has a boot here. Okay, also has a castle nut, all right? And these are the kind that can be greasable, okay? So along with the hardware, okay, along with the tie rod, we also get the hardware here, which is the little grease fitting and the cotter pin for the Mevotech tie rod, all right? Check it out. And these Mevotech tie rods for the 2006 to 11 Honda Civic, these cost about $23.79 each, okay, a piece. All right, and for those of you who don't know or who have never ordered from Rock Auto, the problem with Rock Auto is they do charge shipping, okay? It's not like Amazon where you get free shipping on everything. They do charge shipping, so expect to pay, you know, $11.99 or so for shipping on this or this and some other parts. Okay, so once you've got your car jacked up and on jack stands, just take off the wheel, 3/4 inch. Take off the lug nut. Okay, and then take off the wheel. Okay, so if we look at the outer tie rod, basically what we need to do is remove this, okay? And then remove this, okay? Now, before taking this off, it's better to leave that on, okay, so that we have some torque on this, okay? This is basically the tie rod lock nut, okay? And this is the outer tie rod, and this is the nut that holds to the knuckle, okay? So keep everything in place, and we're gonna get our big channel locks. Okay, we're gonna get our adjustable wrench and loosen this nut right here, this big one. Okay, so we're going to put the adjustable wrench like so. Okay, we're gonna loosen this with the mallet. Okay, there it goes. You see that? The lock nut has now been loosened, okay? Okay, now you can back it out or you can kind of leave it where it was in its place. Okay, I would prefer to leave it kind of where it was in its place. That way when you put the new tie rod back in, you'll know more or less the position it was supposed to be at, okay? We can take off the cotter pin, okay, on the tie rod right here. Okay, straighten the cotter pin so we can pull it through the hole. Okay, pull the cotter pin. Okay, there it is, cotter pin. I'm gonna knock out this one. 19. Okay, take this nut out. Okay, and then we can get our good old hammer and just hammer out the tie rod. Just like so. Okay, so for this part we're gonna actually remove the tie rod, okay? But you see here on the inner tie rod here, okay, there is some kind of a, it's almost like a nut, okay? It's got some flat edges on it. So we're gonna use a wrench here to hold this in place. Leave the lock nut alone, okay? And we're gonna spin this around right here. Hold this in place, okay? This is a 14mm, okay? And we're gonna undo the tie rod from right here, okay? Using our adjustable wrench. Now, after we loosen it, we're going to spin it off, basically. We're gonna unscrew it off of the inner rod, okay? And now the challenge here is that you have to count, okay? it's wise to count how many revolutions this tie rod will undergo. Okay, that way we don't lose the spot that it's currently set at. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this like this, put the adjustable over here, and I'm going to separate the two, just like so. Okay, there it is. Okay, you see that? So the tie rod has now been loosened. Okay, but remember, we now need to count the revolutions here, all right? So once I get this going, we're gonna count the revolutions. So it's spinning around now. Okay, this is 1 revolution. Okay. Okay, this is 2 revolutions. Okay, that's 2, okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and that's it. Like 12 and a half, and it fell off, okay? All right, taking a side-by-side look at our Mevotech tie rod versus the original Honda tie rod. You know, they more or less have the same shape. Now, they might be a little different, okay? It might be a little different, but it shouldn't be too much different. But this is the reason why after you install the tie rod, you must do an alignment, okay? You must do an alignment. All right, but we can see here, see this has multiple flat edges right here. Okay, this only has 1 flat edge here for holding it in place. And of course the Mevotech tie rod has all the little accessory hardware here. The little grease fitting, the new cotter pin, the new castle nut. So remember to put those in place, okay? Like this little grease fitting right here. Okay, but we are pretty much ready to go installing the tie rod. I also want to show you a close-up of the wear and tear that the Honda tie rod has taken over the years. Okay, if you take a look here, the boot here, it's not in great shape, okay? The little dust cover here, starting to crack right here, you see that? Okay, so it needs to be changed, and it's pretty old by now, right? Okay, so let's change this out. Okay, we've got our new Mevotech tie rod, and we're going to install it the reverse direction of removal. So we're gonna start upside down right here and try to go 12 and a half rounds, okay? So that's a half a round right here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We're a little short. We'll just back out the lock nut a little bit and we'll go 12 right here, okay? All right, that seems to be correct. And if you're a little unsure, all right, hopefully you didn't move the knuckle too much. When you turn this around here, when you install the joint here on the knuckle, okay, it should more or less line up. What you can do is you can put the castle nut on temporarily, and you can take this and then bend it, okay? You might have to bend this away from you, okay, like that. Okay, it's a little hard to maneuver a brand new ball joint, okay? But once this is bent in the proper orientation, you can slip this through here, all right? You can slip this through here. And like I said, if you're having trouble, okay, just like so, okay? So we can slip this through here. All right, and then we can loosely put on the castle nut, okay? Okay, so these move parts are American, so the nut wasn't exactly 19, okay? But we got an 18, okay? 18 seems to work pretty good. So I can just tighten this down now appropriately. Okay, so remember, don't tighten the lock nut yet. Only tighten the ball joint. The boot on the joint here is going to start compressing as this thing starts to get seated, okay? And then at some point you're going to feel it getting tense, Alright, it's gonna get tense, like so. Alright. And then we're gonna torque this down to 40. Okay, here we go, 40. Okay, and it's gonna take a couple more turns because it's also seating at the same time you're torquing. Okay, that's 40 right there. Finally, we're gonna slip the cotter pin through. Cotter pin. And then just spread the cotter pin around. Okay, so this one is actually not supposed to go in the little gaps of the castle nut because the old one didn't have a castle nut. This one just goes around. Okay, spread this around. Make sure it doesn't flap around in the wind when you're driving around. Okay, and voila. Voila. Okay, and finally we're gonna lock this nut over here. Okay, so according to the manufacturer's specifications, it's supposed to be 33 pound-feet, okay? But since we don't really have a crow end to our torque wrench, we're just going to approximate. As you tighten the lock nut, if you need to, hold the tie rod with another wrench like so. Okay, and then you can torque this down to the appropriate specifications. All right, so it's gonna go something like this, and then tighten. Okay, just like this. Keep doing this. Okay, and it should be fairly snug. And all right, that's it. Take a look at your beautiful new Mevotech tie rod. Let's see how well these things last. Okay, if they're really as heavy duty as Mevotech claims. Okay, and you're ready to hit the road. Put the wheel back on. Torque these to 80. Remove the jack stand and let the jack down. Remember to take it on a test drive, and you probably will need to do alignment after you replace those tie rods. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. And check out our Amazon affiliate links below. And I'll see you next time on Kelvin's Garage.